Hear my cry, O God. Attend unto my prayer. From the end of the earth will I cry unto thee. When my heart is overwhelmed, lead me to the rock that is higher than I. For thou hast been a shelter for me and a strong tower for the enemy. I will abide in thy tabernacle forever. I will trust in the covenants of thy wings, Selah. For thou, O God, hast heard my vows. Thou hast given me the inheritage of those that fear thy name. Thou wilt prolong the king's life and his years as many generations. He shall abide before God forever. O prepare my mercy. O prepare mercy and truth, which may preserve him. So I will sing praise unto thy name forever, that I may daily perform my vows. Peace and welcome, brethren, back to another Saturday lesson. How are we all doing this week? Doing good, brethren? Okay. I know it's getting pretty cold right now. And I'm that type of Canadian where I go outside with sweaters on, but this season and this weather, I just can't act anymore. You know, it's getting too cold. It's not summer anymore, man. I just gotta face the facts that it's not summer anymore. So, you know, I have on my jacket because it's breezy out there. You don't think it would hit you, and then night comes. Whoo-wee. But yes. What I just read for you, brethren, is Psalm 61. And I read it because it really meant something to me. You know, crying out to the Lord in times of need. Praying to the Lord in times of need. But anyway, that was just one of my scriptures I wanted to read. I really want to come here and talk to you today about being a part of the blade of obedience. Are you a part of the blade of obedience? That's my topic for today. Now, my question is, and when you think about my question, you think, what is the blade of obedience? How would I be a part of the blade of obedience? Well, my brethren, you are already a part of the blade of obedience. For if you are a warrior in this nation and you are fighting beside me and you're fighting beside your sisters for the God of Abraham, the God of Isaac, and the God of Jacob, you are a part of the blade of obedience, brethren. If you stand for the God of Abraham, the God of Isaac, and the God of Jacob, and you stand for his word, for we are one accord, brethren, when we are here, you are a part of the blade of obedience. Am I right, brethren? It mind boggles me to think that the enemies could just overwhelm me, and just because of their size and just because of the mass that they have in numbers. But there is more with me, more spiritual with me than there is with them. I come today, brethren, talking about who are you, and are you a warrior? Are you a soldier in God's army ready to fight with your sword and shield? Ready to bash the enemy when he comes up to you? Are you a warrior? I don't get how we felt so much fear in our hearts when we saw the enemy. And what I'm talking about David and Goliath. See, that's the story I'm going to get into. I don't know how much fear we had when we seen the enemy. Knowing that we praise the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, we praise the true and living God. I don't know how we could be so scared, brethren. But I'm going to show you a soldier that wasn't scared. A soldier who fought because he knew the truth in his God, the God of Abraham, the God of Isaac, and the God of Jacob. For he fought on the side of the Lord. And that man, that boy, is David. There was no end to war. Neither is the warrior's mission ever over. For someone said that an eye for an eye will only make the world blind. So then, my question is, what is war? What does war stand for? That's easy. Am I right, brethren? War stands for we are right. Showing how both sides often believe that they are justified. What is war? War obviously stands for wrong and reckless, right? Because showing the destruction and harm, and war causes so much disgust. Like, you see how we fight, brethren. You see how we go toe to toe to the enemy. Nah, war doesn't stand for that. War stands for we all rage because we're expressing our anger and our violence that comes with war. So war has to mean that, right? You think of war in so many ways and in so many structures and just so many paths. You see war and you see destruction. Do you see art? What do you see? I see a canvas being painted, brethren. I see a canvas being painted. War is not always blood and tears to being shed. For some people think that is what it takes to have peace. That's what it takes. That's what some people think. Not all the time. Not all the time, brethren. You think of war as weapons and ruins because we're describing the tools and the effects of war. So that's what war has to obviously stand for. Am I right? Sorry, sometimes I think I'm crazy. Sometimes I think I don't know what I'm talking about, but when it comes to being that warrior, who do you see in the mirror? When Yes, sir. Don't go over there? Okay. Alrighty. Yes, sir. But like I was saying, who do you see? When you look in your mirror every morning, every night before bed, are you thinking of what type of warrior are you? How do you fight God's battle? How do I fight? Because that's the question in my mind at the end of the day. How do I strike back? So many things and so many thoughts I have about war. And are you a warrior? For if you are a warrior in God's battle, you are part of the blade of obedience. You serve the true and living God, and you understand what your mission is. You understand that you will have to fight giants. You understand that some of your missions that you have to go on, you have to listen word for word of the instructions you are given. You think of a warrior and you think, what is the warrior's job? Well, that's simple, brethren. A warrior's job is to fight for his side and to fight for the rights of his side and to go and die for his side. And sometimes, yes, sometimes that's the art of war, putting your life on the line for your people, not just your people, but your God in who you believe. Today I come to you, brethren, to talk about the blade of obedience. We can go to Ecclesiastes 3, verse 8, just to clear up what I mean by war and what you should really be thinking of. And it says here, brethren, a time to love and a time to hate and a time of war and a time of peace. There is a time for everything. What timing are you on? Or are you even looking at the clock? What enemy do you fight at the end of the day? Because when you pick up that sword and that shield, will you fight on the side of God? Or will you fight against God? I just want to let me lighten up because I just want to say that's what I thought of war. How we defined war. And are you a warrior? Can we please go to 1 Samuel chapter 17? And this, brethren, this here is the Philistines fighting against Israel. So most of you know this story, but I'm going to break it down for you because this is what it looks like in a warrior's eyes. Now the Philistines gathered together their armies to battle and were gathered together at Shoko, which belongeth to Judah, and pitched between Shoko to Akiza and Esphadamin. Sorry, Ephesadam. And Saul and the men of Israel were gathered together and pitched by the valley of Elah and set in battle in array against the Philistines. So you see here, brethren, in the first and second verse that we are already in war. We are already prepared, brethren, to fight against the Philistines. Saul and his army is here on the mountain, ready. You could look at this in so much ways, brethren. I look at it in such a beautiful way. You're ready on the mountain, ready to fight your enemy. Because this is what you've trained for. You got to look in those warriors' eyes. You got to look in your brothers and your sisters' eyes to really get this perspective. You are on a mountain ready to fight for your God. Another battle. You're ready, right? You're like, all right, bro, we got this. We got this. We got this, we've been training for this, right? We've been training for this moment, so there won't be a line where I trip over. There won't be a spear that gets thrown into my chest because I know the way of the war. I know who I'm fighting for. And the Philistines, verse 3. And the Philistines stood on a mountain on the one side, and Israel stood on the mountain on the other side, and there was a valley between them. So you see here, brethren, we're getting ready to fight. We see each other. We see the Philistines. And that's what I really need to do. When I see Israel right here, I got to relate it to us in our time. So we're on the mountain. We see the Philistines. We see their army. Okay. Got some big men, you know. Beefy, not beefier than us, though. Not spiritually guided more than us, though. But we don't think about that in our time. They didn't think about that in the past. They didn't sometimes know how much power our God holds. But look at us today, brethren. Look at how we're sitting here today, brethren, knowing that our God is the God of Abraham, the God of Isaac, and the God of Jacob. Our God is the living God, filled with truth and justice. He judges us. And what we need to do is have that loyalty. For it is an honor to serve our God. It is an honor to be at his side, but it's also an honor to fight for the Lord. Are you a part of that blade of obedience? I'm going to keep saying that so it can really get stuck in your head, because I do ask the question. And at the end, if anybody wants to, they can answer if they are part of the blade of obedience. Verse 4. And there went out a champion of the camp of the Philistines named Goliath of Gath, whose height was 6 cubits and a span. Now, if you guys didn't know, 6 cubits and a span is 9 feet tall. That's as tall as my house. So I'm looking at a bigger warrior, taller than me, more mass and more height. See, when I read this chapter, brethren, I think in so many ways on how Goliath is just a blockage in our goals. You see, brethren, that Goliath, he can be explained and represented as so much things in our life today. That job we want to get, that black flip we want to do, brethren. Goliath here, brethren, is a stoppage, or not. I shouldn't say stop, but is a block in our path, in our success, in our future. Or should I say he was, sorry. You got to look at Goliath. You got to look at our enemies in such ways that they don't even think of. In verse 5, and he had an helmet of brass upon his head, and he was armed with a coat of mail, and the weight of the coat was 5,000 shekels of brass. So you see here that this big Philistine, he's armored up. He's ready to fight the warrior. He's ready to fight the greatest, because he's heard so much about us. He's ready, brethren. You have to ask yourselves, are you ready? You have to ask yourselves, are you ready to pick up that sword? So many questions, yet no answers, brethren. I say, what do we fight for? Why do I swing my sword? Why do I shoot my arrows? Why do I tense up and put my arm up to block the spears or the swords with my shield? Why do I fight, brethren? I ask you today, are you a part of the blade of obedience? Verse 6. And he had greaves of brass upon his legs, and a target of brass between his shoulders. You look at this, brethren, and you see that your enemies are they're never off guard. They're always on guard, brethren. They're always on high alert because they know that there is a bigger force than them out there that they have to take over. They know that there's a bigger force, brethren, that they have to, what's the word? Mislead, brethren. I have to lead that man off his path because I know the power he holds. So that's my job, right? And you hear this, you hear that your enemies think of you in this way. There's so many things, brethren, so many things in life that block you. Even the people that you meet on a day-to-day basis are tests, brethren, are enemies and paths to just slightly push you off that path. Sorry, Auntie, I didn't see you there.
That's okay. No, it just came in and I just read a little portion there of the lesson for today. And it's so funny because that's the same topic we were talking about just now, preparing just for the afternoon. And I think it's coming to the realization that the outside world doesn't change.
Mhm.
They don't conform. Even if you were in the nation and you left the nation, even when you go back outside, you do not conform. I find that we're the ones that conform.
Yes.
We're the one that has to make, exceptions. Like we do a lot of exceptions. Well, we know we're not supposed to do it, but you know what? I'm just going to do it because this, like, we give ourselves a lot of reason to conform to the outside world. And I think that's part of our destruction.
Yeah.
Is we're always conforming. So just the same way that you're saying in the lesson, like you have to have a conviction. It's the same way you got to start defending. If you're in a war zone, you got to start defending, you got to start fighting. But I don't believe we fight as much as we need to. It's like, when you hear people talking about the nation or talking about your God, it's like, get their name out of your mouth.
Yeah.
But we don't do that.
Amen.
We really don't do the get their name out of your mouth, because I think when we do a lot more of that, maybe then we'll, like, our longevity, our endurance, we'll go further.
Mhm.
And then we'll get the reward, and the reward at the end to me is, pleasing the God of Israel, making him proud. That's the reward. That's where we're here. We're actually fighting for him.
Mhm.
We're fighting for our culture. We're fighting for our legacy.
Yes.
That is what we are fighting for. There's nothing in this world that we can do or we could have without the God of Israel. We were orphans, and now, we have found who our Father is.
Mhm.
Who we belong to, and that's what we got to fight for. It's keeping that legacy going and keeping our Father's dreams going. Because if we don't do it, we're just going to be swept away.
Yeah. Amen. Wow. Thank you, Auntie, so much. Said so much there that's so beautiful. And you are right, Auntie. There needs to be a boundary for us. There needs to be that plate, that armor for us. For it says in Psalms 144, blessed be the Lord that teacheth my hands to war and my fingers to fight, brethren. So you see so much, and blessed be the Lord. Blessed be the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. So let's get back, brethren. More, verse 7. And the staff of his spear was like a weaver's beam, and his spear's head wedged 600 shekels of iron, and one bearing a shield went before him. And he stood and cried out unto the armies of Israel, and said unto them, where are ye come out to set your battle in array? Am I not a Philistine? And ye serve, and ye servants of Saul. Choose you a man for you, and let him come down to me. So you see here, brethren, Goliath is here, and he says, children of Israel, am I not a Philistine? Am I not your enemy? Don't I stand before you today? Come and bring one of your men, mightiest foe, and let him battle me. Like I said, brethren, we can make Goliath seem like so many things in our life that just block our goals. And Goliath was one of them for us. We were just trembling in fear. But let me not, leak my story a lot. Let me just get more into it. I'm thinking too much. In verse 9, it says, if he be able to fight with me and to kill me, then will we be your servants. But if I prevail against him and kill him, they shall ye be our servants and serve us. So you see here, brethren, as Goliath calls one of us, I like to say us because we're basically there. As Goliath is calling one of us to battle him, we see a 9-foot tall man, 6 cubits high, brethren. And you think to yourself, as a warrior, I won't be able to fight that man. I won't be able to slash him down. My weapon is not strong enough to destroy him. Look at the shackles on him. Look at the armor on his legs and his shoulders. I can't go up against an enemy like that. And that's where we fail. That's where we fall and crumble because we still measure the power of our God. We still measure the miracles that he showed us. You see, brethren, you see how much love it takes, how much passion it takes, how much pride and honor it takes to serve our God. How much faith in that belief that we have or had David had in our God. It said that him and David were best friends. Seeing that connection that he was able to build with our Father, the God of Abraham, the God of Isaac, and the God of Jacob, is so beautiful. Before this, David fought a lion and slew a bear. So you see now that when David gets in this story, he's not going to play any games. So let us continue, brethren. Verse 10, and the Philistine said, I defy the armies of Israel this day. Give me a man that we may fight together. Once again, our enemies obviously measure our strength, our intelligence, and our strength, brethren. They measure our power of our God, and they obviously don't believe in him. So you see here Goliath once again. Which soldier would come down here and fight me today? Will you go for your goals or will you be blocked by shame and insecurity, brethren. There's so many things that block us today from succeeding to our future. We are spiritual creatures, brethren. I said this before, but we are spiritual creatures with a high intellect. But since we lack so much of that, lack so much spirituality, brethren, we fall back on our physical. And look at us now. Look at us now. We lack so much spirituality, so much knowledge and wisdom and understanding that we fell to the ground. We fell, but now look at us, brethren. We stand up strong and tall, ready to fight once again, because this war, like I said, it is endless. For the warrior's mission is never over, brethren. An eye for an eye will only make the world blind. So then my question, like I already said, my question goes back to, what is war? See, now, I asked ChatGPT, what is war? Define war for me. And of course it said, war is a state of armed conflict between different countries, governments, or a group within a country. It usually involves the use of military force, weapons, and violence to achieve political, territorial, and ideological goals. That is what war is used for. It's used to inflict power and dominance, to go for the tariffs forcefully. You see how blood is shed. Sometimes it's wicked and sometimes it's an art. A warrior, when he sees war, he sees his life. He sees that this is what my life has come to, and this is what my life is for, because I was trained to be a warrior. So I see this canvas, I see this orchestra being painted. I see the beauty in this life. Who will fight on the side of God and who will fight on the side of the wicked? Who is right at the end of the day and who is wrong? Who is in the light and who is drowned in the darkness? That's the question at the end of the day, brethren, that we have to ask ourselves, because aren't we warriors? Aren't we a part of the blade of obedience, brethren? That's what I ask. Verse 11, brethren. And it says, when Saul and all Israel heard those words of the Philistine, they were dismayed and greatly afraid. So you see here, I can't say, brethren, I can't say with my with the voice that I have today and the opinions I have, I can't say that I would go down there and fight. I can't say that, because I would be in the same situation as them. I'd be terrified. Seeing a man bigger than my house standing before me. No CGI, no AI. It's real life. Seeing this big man before me in my path. How could I overcome him? How could I pass him? How could I destroy him to show that my God, he's the true and living? I have faith in him. How do I show my belief? Verse 12. Now David was the son of the Ephraite of Bethlehem, Judah, whose name was Jesse, and he had eight sons, and the man went among men for an old man in the days of Saul. So you see here, brethren, that David was Jesse's son from Bethlehem, Judah, who had 8 sons, brethren. 8 sons. Imagine having 8 sons. But you hear David, see now, this is when David gets here. Verse 13. And the 3 eldest sons of Jesse went and followed Saul to the battle. And the names of the 3 sons that went to battle were Eliba, the firstborn, the next unto him, Abinadab, and the third son, Shammah. And David was the youngest, and the 3 eldest followed Saul. You see here that Saul went and picked David's brothers. He went to pick the 3 oldest, which was Eliab, Abinadab, and Shammah. You see that, okay, these 3 brothers from Jesse's family, from Jesse's lineage, from his blood, I'm gonna pick these 3 men and I'm gonna lead them to battle. That's what Saul is saying. So he leads them to battle. And it says here in verse 15, but David went and returned from Saul to feed his father sheep at Bethlehem. So it says here that David was the youngest and stayed home while his brothers went out and tried to fight against Goliath, because you see here that none of the soldiers want to go up against him. None of the soldiers want to take up the job of fighting on the side of the God of Abraham, the God of Isaac, and the God of Jacob. Your enemies, brethren, they're going to be bigger than you. They're going to be more dangerous. Sometimes they're going to even look more powerful, brethren. But who do you believe in? Who do you serve? How do you, brethren, fight on the side of the God of Abraham, the God of Isaac, and the God of Jacob with no fear? How do you do it? Have faith. Have faith, brethren. Believe, brethren, in our God, the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, for there is multiple miracles that he has performed in our lives. So why don't we believe that we can get across that mountain? Why don't we believe we can run that race and be first place, brethren? Why don't we believe that we can become anything we want?
Why don't we?
Fear, doubt, shame. And you see, sometimes our enemy goes near our friends, and our enemy, I say our enemy, I mean evil spirits. And they go near your friends sometimes and they lead you astray. It's insane because I've seen it with my 2 eyes. They lead you astray. And sometimes it's not your friends, but it's just something what they're saying. It's just not right. It's just like, what's up with you? Because that's not who you were. You used to encourage me to go for my goals. And now when I'm on the edge, and now when I'm about to jump to my success, you hold me back. Ask yourself at the end of the day, are you a part of the blade of obedience? Verse 16. And the Philistines drew near morning and evening and presented himself 40 days. And Jesse said unto David his son, Take now for thy brethren an ephah of this parched corn, and these 10 loaves of bread, and run to the camp of thy brethren, and carry these 10 cheeses unto the captain of their thousands, and look how thy brethren fare, and take their pledge. You see here, brethren, they're bringing food to Saul. You see here that we're preparing, brethren. We're preparing for a fight. We're preparing for a war that nobody wants to face. At the end of the day, nobody wants to fight. You see so much, brethren, so much blockage when it comes to living life, when it comes to succeeding, progressing. There are so many tests and so many road bumps. The question I have for you is, are you going to let those trip you? And even if they do, are you going to let them hurt you? Are you going to let that make you sit there and just be like, I'm done, I failed. My job is done, I failed. When it even comes to teaching, brethren, there's so many goals that you want to just have. Like you want those goals. I want to teach like that person. I want to move like that person. But without falling and without stumbling, brethren, how will you be strong like them? How will I be strong like my teachers before me without stumbling? You see so much, brethren. You see so much. Verse 19. Now Saul and all the men of Israel, were in the valley of Elah, fighting with the Philistines. And David rose up early in the morning and left the sheep with a keeper, and took and went as Jesse had commanded him. And he came to the trench as the host was going forth to the fight, and shouted for the battle. So you see here, brethren, they're fighting. They're finally fighting. They're finally fighting the war. And I love this about Israel because they're scared, right? But they still have to fight. They still have to prove themselves. So they're going to fight no matter if you see your brother falling or your next brother on your left falling. You still have to fight. You still have to swing your sword. You still have to shoot that arrow. So you see here how much courage we have, at least. At least we're fighting against Goliath and his army. At least we're fighting against that blockage in our lives. Verse 21. For Israel and the Philistines had put in the battle in array, army against army. And David left his carriage in the hand of the keeper of the carriage and ran into the army and came and saluted his brethren. So you see here, David's slick, brethren. David's slick right here. So he knows, okay, let me get a keeper for my sheep, watch over them, babysit a little bit, and let me go out to this battle. Let me fight. I get what what David is going through because nobody believes in him. You see a small young boy and you think, what? You think you're going to defeat Goliath? Because you apparently slew down a lion and a bear, you're going to defeat the big and bad Goliath? You think just because you had that dream, because his brothers probably thought it was a dream, that you had your goals overcome. You obviously think you're bigger than us. So you know his brothers laugh at him because they don't believe him. But imagine being David. Imagine being that kid like you fought a lion and a bear. Like, holy brethren. It's just so much amazing things that you see, and we just pass by sometimes reading the Bible. But it's like, wow, the beauty in our Lord and his strength and his love that he has for us. Like, what? Verse 23. And he talked with them. Behold, there came up the champion, the Philistine of Gath, Goliath by name, out of the armies of the Philistines, and spake name out of the armies of the Philistines, and spake according to the same words. And David heard them. So you see, Goliath came back out and he said the same thing. Who will challenge me? And you see here, David heard it. So David's ready. He's like, what? David's ready to prove himself, not just to the armies of Saul, which is the Israelites, but to Goliath, that his God is real. Verse 25, verse 24. And all the men of Israel, when they saw the man, fled from him and were sore afraid. So you see here, Israel right now, they're being little wusses, They're being scared. And we shouldn't be scared. But I get it in their face. You're seeing somebody that's taller than Victor Wambeat or whatever his name is, Taller than Larry Bird, I should say. You see that our enemy, brethren, they're never tired. And it gets tiring because we get tired. We get lazy sometimes and we want to slack off. We do. I do sometimes, but I can't. We can't sleep, brethren. For our mission is not over, brethren. And if our mission is not over, war is not over. So that is what I say. That is what I mean when I say war is endless. There won't be a peace until our mission is over, brethren. So why do we look for that? Why do we look for peace? Easy. You see the quietness, like you sometimes go on a walk and you hear quiet, just straight, beautiful quietness. You just hear nothing. Sometimes you hear the birds chirping, and you close your eyes and you hear it and it's just like, wow, peace in my mind, peace in the world. That's my type of peace, When I hear just nothing, not even the cars on the road, I'm like, wow, this is what it sounds like to have peace. But then your reality locks back in and you snap back in. And you're back in war. You're back in that battle. You're ready to fight. Okay, my brother's here. All right, my brother's here. Let's go. Let's go. But am I ready to swing that sword? Is it getting heavier in my hand? What type of warrior am I if I can't fight on the side of God's truth? What type of warrior am I? Where am I? I'm at verse 25. Verse 25. And the men of Israel said, have ye seen this man that is come up? Surely to defy Israel is he come up. And it shall be that the man who killeth him, the king will enrich him with great riches, and will give him his daughter, and make his father's house free in Israel. So Goliath is so big and bad, he's so boasty to the point where he gave them a bet, he gave them a deal. You destroy me, you kill me, and Philistine is yours. You get to have the king's daughter. You get to have everything. Because I know I'm the big and bad Goliath. I know that you can't defeat me. You see this in so many ways. It's just another test, brethren. It's just another test in our lives. Let me keep reading. And David spake, which is verse 26. And David spake to the men that stood by him, saying, what shall be done to the man that killeth the Philistine, and taketh away the reproach from Israel? For who is this uncircumcised Philistine, that he should defy the armies of the living God? So David's finally speaking like, what? Who is this guy? You know, I don't want to use my Toronto accent, but he's like, who is this? Who is this man they call Goliath? He's disrespecting my God, our God, the God of Abraham, the God of Isaac, and the God of Jacob. There's no way. That's what David is saying. There's no way this uncircumcised heathen, this virus he's basically saying, because he's just dissing them at this point, he's talking to us like that? Oh, there's no way. 27. And the people answered him after this manner, saying, so shall it be done to the man that killeth him. And Eliba, his elders, Eliba, verse 28. Eliab, his eldest brother, heard when he spake unto the men, and Eliab's anger was kindled against David. And he said, why camest thou down hither? And with whom hast thou left those few sheep within the wilderness? So how did you get here, David? That's what he's basically saying. How did you get here, David? Who's watching the sheep? It's like your mom asking, who's watching your sister at home? You're outside and she caught you. I can relate to that. Caught you. You know, and you got to make up a lie, and it's just like, yeah, you know, I was just meeting my friend outside. And now all of a sudden, I'm actually getting really hot. But let's get back to the lesson. And it says here in verse, no, I'm still reading, sorry. I know thy pride and thy naughtiness of thine heart, for thou art come down that thou mightest see the battle. So he's saying here, I know you, David. I know you want to see the battle. David's a fighter, man. You know, I think I'm a fighter too. You know, I'm like David, man. I'm a fighter. I'm, you know, I don't know, you know, sometimes you think you're people in the Bible. I'm gonna start asking people that. Who do you think you are in the Bible? Or who do you think you represent? You know? But yeah, he's saying here, I know you love the fight. David loved the fight. David saw the art in war, brethren. He saw it. Verse 29. And David said, what have I now done? Is there not a cause? And he turned from him toward another and spake after the same manner. And the people answered again after the former manner. In verse 31, and when the words were heard which David spake, they rehearsed them before Saul. And he sent for him. And David said to Saul, let's no man heart fail because of him. Thy servants will go and will fight with this Philistine. So you see here, brethren, oh my gosh, my time's running. But you see here, brethren, you see here that David's in front of Saul, and he's just like, what did they say? There's no way this man is trying to disrespect us, dishonor us. Let me go out there and let me fight this man. In verse 33, and Saul said unto David, thou art not able to go against the Philistine to fight with him, for thou art but a youth, and he a man of war from his youth. Wow. It's a little bit of poetry right there. You see here that Saul's just like, but who do you think you are, David? There's no way you could fight. There's no way you're youth. You see that Goliath has been trained since he was a youth. So obviously, as your brothers and as you're sitting beside Saul, you're thinking, this little boy's about to get slaughtered if he goes out there. There's no way he survives. Verse 34, and I'm going to speed up my reading. And David said unto Saul, thy servant keep his father's sheep. And there came a lion and a bear and took a lamb out of the flock. And I went out after him and smote him, and I delivered out of his mouth. And when he arose against me, I caught him by his beard and smote him, and I slew him. So you see here, this is David talking about the bear and the lion that he slew from the sheep to protect the sheep, right? And in verse 36, it says, and thy servant slew both the lion and the bear. And this uncircumcised Philistine shall be as one of them, seeing hath he defied the armies of the living God. David said, moreover, the Lord hath delivered me out of the path of the lion, out of the paw of the bear. He will deliver me out of the hand of the Philistine. And Saul said unto David, go, and the Lord will be with thee. So finally, David gets to prove himself. David is going to get to prove himself before the army of Israel. Verse 38, and Saul armed David with his armor and put an helmet of brass upon his head, and also armed him with the coat of mail. And David girded his sword upon his armor, and he essayed to go, for he had not proved it, and have not proved them, and David put them off. So you see here, they're getting him ready for battle. Okay, we're going to put this on your head. Get the helmet, get the chest plate, get the sword, get the shield. And in David's body, he's thinking, this is not meant for me. I don't have this honor yet to put this on. And it feels too, and he probably thought it was too heavy too. We don't know how much kilos that was on there, but too big. Yeah. I work out sometimes and I can't even, I don't know what I bench, like 90. Bench 90, having bench like 130. 10? Wow. That's for, I don't know. That's concerning. Sorry. Let me continue. verse 40. And he took his staff in his hand and chose 5 smooth stones out of the brook and put them in the shepherd's bag which he had, even in a scrip. And his sling was in the hand, and he drew near to the Philistines. And the Philistines came on and the Philistines came on and drew near unto David. And the man that bare the shield went before him. And when the Philistines looked about and saw David, he disdained him, for he was but a youth, ruddy of a fair countenance. And the Philistines said unto David, Am I a dog that thou comest to me with staves? And the Philistine cursed David by his God. Insane. You see here, brethren, that the Philistine, he's here, Goliath, I should say. He's just showing up David. Who are you, man? You're a little boy. David saying here, who are you to disrespect me like that? You see so much, brethren. My time here is done, so I'll just sum it up for you. Or there could be a part 2. But it's saying here, or let me say, it continues on saying that David, he fights with Goliath and he gets his stone and his slingshot. One of the most historical moments in history. And he throws the rock and it hits Goliath in his head. And Goliath falls down. Then David goes up. It's pretty gruesome, but cuts his head off and shows the Philistines. For you see the strength of your God. When you see the strength of your God, the God of Abraham, the God of Isaac, and the God of Jacob, you will not crumble. You will not fall, brethren, and you will not lack. So stay strong, brethren. Stay awakened and stay in the light. And stay a part of God's army. For we are a part of the blade of obedience. Peace, brethren.
Wow. What a intro. Give another round of applause for Ishikar. Yeah. Let me just get my water. Hold on. I've been told that I drink a lot of water, so I need another one. So it is what it is. So after my last lesson, I was thinking, what's the next topic I'm gonna do? Because I'm gonna get caught up again eventually. So I might as well have another topic ready. Something, okay, what should I do? Should it be about spirituality? No, I've seen that way too many times. Like you've seen mind, soul, body, spirit, like a lot of times. Then I thought warriors. What about warriors? Sure, we've heard of them, but warriors and obedience. So I came up with the title Warzone, the Blade of Obedience. So I was thinking like, that's pretty catchy because I like to make titles that they sound good. Like when you say it, it sounds good. So getting into the topic at hand. Ishikar, I would say I'm not trying to like diss Ishikar, but I'm just saying like he's setting the ground formations for like when you're making a bonfire, you gotta set up some of that ground formation. You gotta get the wood, you gotta make a nice big circle. So now I gotta ignite that. Cause when Issachar said like it's gruesome, welcome to war. It's always gonna be gruesome. It's a battlefield. What did you expect? I'm not dissing you. I'm just saying, like, welcome to war. This isn't just this isn't no playground. You're gonna see a lot of things that aren't supposed to be seen in the public in general. You're gonna see a lot of beheading. That's a lot in the Bible. I'm not making this up for dramatic effect. You're gonna see that a lot in the Bible. This book is uncensored. There's no censoring in this book. They didn't have that back then. So, starting with my first story, when I was getting these stories, I was thinking, I don't want to do the same one over and over and over again. Like, I've heard about David a lot of times. You've heard about Saul a lot of times. I am going to mention Saul, but it's not in the way that you'll think. Well, you might think of it, so whatever. So, my first story, Joshua and the Battle of Jericho. Not something that you hear often, but we're going to get into it. And please bear with me. The font on this is like fine print, like my normal Bible, like I could probably read it from here. Like if it's on the podium, I could read it from here perfectly fine. But this is really small, so if I make a lot of mistakes, bear with me. If I don't even know if you guys could see the font. Anyone see that? Anyone? Nobody? You can read it very clear? Who said that? Other Michael? Did you say you could read it very clear? All right. Joshua and the Battle of Jericho. What do you guys think of that when you first hear it? Anyone from the audience? The walls came tumbling down, yeah? Anyone else? I'm gonna start volunteering you guys. I'm gonna start choosing people out of the crowd. The song that worship sings. Yeah, we got that twice. Auntie Sean, you were on the lesson last night. So round of applause for Auntie Sean and Jesse and anyone else who was on the lesson last night. What do you think when you hear Joshua and the Battle of Jericho?
The most famous part, the wall that came tumbling down.
The most famous. Yeah, that's what everyone says. So when going into these battles, this was a very specific battle because it's about war. Yes, the title has Warzone, and then the subtitle is The Blade of Obedience. So it's war and obedience. You gotta put them together. So as you know, they were told for 7 days, to go around the walls and then blow the trumpets on the seventh day, and they're just gonna come collapsing down. Correct? And correct? Yes, yes. All right. So before I get into it, let me get some water. Uncle Lewis's guy, I do need a lot of water. Where's Uncle Lewis? All right. So starting from chapter 6, verse 1. Now Jericho was straitly shut up because of the children of Israel. None went out and none came in. So lockdown. No one's coming in and no one's going out. No leaving. You can't escape at this time. And the Lord said unto Joshua, See, I have given into thine hand Jericho, and the king thereof, and the mighty men of valor. And ye, verse 3, and ye shall compass the city, all ye men of war, and go around the city once. Thus shall do this for 6 days. So this is already a order coming from the God of Israel. Now, what happens when you're given an order? You're supposed to obey. Yes, thank you, Mom. So yes, you're supposed to obey. Man, my mom has told me so many things like, can you make sure you do this? Can you make sure you do this? And then I say, yeah, I'll do it. And I forget about it. So I guess that's some kind of disobedience. It's not that bad, but you should still listen to your parents. Right? So, right, Ishakar? You should still be listening to your parents, watching your sisters, even though they're older. Okay, whatever. So, verse 4. And 7 priests shall bear the ark, 7 shall bear before the ark 7 trumpets of ram's horn. And the 7th day ye shall compass the city 7 times, and the priests shall blow the trumpets. So when they do that, according to the God of Israel, the walls are going to just kaput, fall down, kaput. It's open for battle. Now, I don't want to read too much and just be looking down like this and saying, what's next? 7 priests bear the 7 trumpets. No, we're going to get to the fun part because war isn't boring. Ishakar, I hope you heard what I said.
Yes, of course.
So, we're going to skip down to about like, let's see, verse 20. That sounds fair, verse 20, you know, just before the fight actually begins. Verse 20. So the people shouted when the priests blew the trumpets. And it came to pass, when the people heard the sound of the trumpet, and the people shouted with a great shout, that the wall fell down flat. So, it's very hard to imagine this, because like, you don't get to see it in person, you don't get to experience it, right? So it's hard to imagine that like, the walls just fall down flat. All 4 corners of the wall just fall down flat. It's very hard to imagine. But to put it in perspective, if these were the walls, these tall, the next second it's this flat. I know it may not be the most helpful representation, but I'm working with what I can here. So, continuing. Oops, went too far. Verse 21. And they utterly destroyed the city, all that was within the city, as they were told to. Now, remember, destroy the city. Very important for a certain story I'm going to be talking about later on. I'm pretty sure if you guys could get this, you might know where I'm going. The guy's name starts with S. He was a king. Yeah, you guys get the reference now. You guys are too good. All right. Who laughed at that? Mom, did you laugh at that? All right. Wait, don't want to be put up stage? I mean, we have a mic there. Mic's open for questions or comments. Is there any like questions in the chat? No questions, comments, or concerns?
Later.
Pardon?
Later.
Later? Okay. We'll continue on then. So, and utterly destroyed all that was within the city, both man, woman, old, young, and the ox, and the sheep, and the ass with the edge of the sword. So you were supposed to go in there and kill everything. Very important. Remember, listen, okay? I'm telling you guys to do something, so you should be obedient and listen to what I'm saying. I'm not saying this in a rude way. I'm just, you guys know what I mean. So, but verse 22. But Joshua said unto the 2 men that had spied out the country, go into the harlot's house, and bring out thence the woman, and all that she hath, as she sware unto. And the young men that were spies went in and brought out Rahab, and her father, and her mother, and her brethren, and all that she said had. And they brought out all her kindred, and left them without the camp of Israel. So, since we skipped a little bit, Rahab, when there was 2 spies in the country, when they're surveying it out, they had to run. So the spies had to run because they got caught. Well, they got seen, but not caught. So they ran, and Rahab let them hide in the house. So for that, they're like, okay, because you let us live, we're gonna make sure that you live. So when this all happens, she's the only family that gets out perfectly fine. So, verse 24, and they burnt the city with fire, and all that was therein, only the silver and the gold, and the vessels of brass and of iron, they put into the treasury of the house of the Lord. And Joshua saved 25. And Joshua saved Rahab the harlot alive, and her father's household, and all that she had, and she dwelt in Israel even unto this day, because she hid the 2 messages which Joshua had sent out to spy Jericho. See, I was right. I was all right. Thought I got it wrong for a second, but no. So, 26. And Joshua adjured them at that time, saying, Cursed be the man before the Lord that riseth up and buildeth this city Jericho. He shall lay the foundation thereof in his firstborn, and his youngest son shall he set up the gates of it. 27. So the Lord was with Joshua, and his fame was noised throughout all the country. Now, funny enough, when I was researching this, the very next chapter talks about disobedience. Funny enough. So this was a really good chapter for me to choose. And it's not a story I often heard, so might as well bring it out. Chapter 7. But the children of Israel committed a trespass in the accursed thing. So since I skipped a bit, I might have skipped a little bit too much. My bad. So the Lord said, do not take anything out of that land. You're going to destroy it. Only the gold, silver, brass, and things, that's going to go to the treasury. Nothing else. No people, no animals, no objects. Only the things that he stated. So they're already told, don't go and take something that's not yours. You're supposed to go in there, destroy it, and come out. Very simple. So, as I just read, one of them decided to, no one's looking. I'm just going to take this, They won't know this. It's just one thing. What's the worst that could happen? What's the worst that could happen when you disobey the Lord? So, chapter 7. But the children of Israel committed trespass in the accursed thing, for Achan, the son of Charman, the son of Zabdid, the son of Zerah, of the tribe of Judah, took of the accursed thing, and the anger of the Lord was kindled against the children of Israel. Already. They were told, pardon?
Not just him.
No, the whole is. When we're talking about Israel, it's one for all and all for one. So, when you look at Israel as a body, right? If something happens to your hand, you're gonna need that hand. You're still gonna, even you could say, oh, I don't need. Oh, you'll see how. Tape your arm behind your back and try living a week. See how annoying it is working only with your left hand. If you're left-handed, lucky for you, tape it the other way around. No one's getting excused from this. So, as one, Israel is always as one, supposed to be as one. So, let me ask you guys something. What is the largest organ in your body?
Your skin.
Your skin. Now, that's what protects your body. Now, one thing that you might not get is what is the least useful thing in your body? I searched it up. I know the answer. So what do you guys think is the least useful organ in your body? Any ideas? Mom? Pardon?
Spleen.
Your spleen? No. Auntie Sophie? Appendix, yes. The appendix is considered the least useful. However, without that appendix, you will still die. You will die. So it goes to show, even though it's like the lowest of the low, it's still very important to your body as one. You still have, that's why everybody has that. When it's not optional. It's not, you're giving it by chance, oh, this, oh, that. No. When you have your body, you're supposed to have everything intact. That is how Israel is supposed to be, all as one. So, in a war, it's not supposed to be group 1, you're gonna do whatever you want. Group 3, you could do whatever. Group 2 and 4, you guys attack them. It's supposed to be as one. You're supposed to move as one. Why do you think the army does marching? It may not be as fast as running or jogging, but it is the most effective way to get a large group of people from point A to point B. If you didn't know that. Common knowledge. You see, you learn something new every day, unless you already knew that. So now the Lord is very angry at them because even though it was one person who decided to sneakily take something just over here, just gonna put that into my back pocket. Don't worry about it. So just because one person did that, everybody suffered from that. And if you'd like to, you could read on more. So if you'd like to, Joshua 6 to 7. That wasn't it. Chapter 6 to chapter 7. Then you could continue reading on from that. Now, I have a few more stories, but I know that if I keep going into detail about every single one of them, my time's going to be gone without having a proper explanation to this. The next story, Gideon and the 300. Now, around last year, maybe like November, early winter, late fall, Uncle Andel came to me when me and Jesse were talking about a movie. So Uncle Andel asked, "Have you guys ever watched the movie 300?" And I was like, "No, what's it? What? I never heard of it." Because we're in a different generation of movies now. Now listen. Let me speak. Let me speak. Okay. I will say, as somebody from a newer generation, the movies back then are significantly better than the movies now. That's fair. That's a good state. That's truth. That's the truth. And I don't care if I offended anybody because those movies are a lot better than what we have now. So, back on topic. Gideon, Gideon and the 300. Judges 6. That's where we are. Now, this one's a long one. It's going to go to like chapter 8 to like 35. So, I already used my one free skip. So, we're going to have to read through this. I'm going to try not messing up on this fine print of a Bible. Again, it's very hard to see. Supposedly, allegedly, Elder Michael could see it from, what is that, good like 7 meters? Wow, I didn't know somebody could read that with glasses from 7 meters. You must have some very high prescription. Could you say that to the mic?
Yes, I'll share it with you if you want me to. You see, I'm listening to what you both are talking about, and it's actually fascinating because, like you said, it's like the fine print to what I could see. I see a battle between the Israelite nation, the house of Israel, and the rest of the world. The rest of the world, 99.9% of the people, they are promoting the lie, and we are 0.1%, and we are promoting the truth. But like Ishakar said, you have Goliath, 25, 50 feet tall, and little boy David, 2 inches. But yet, David knew exactly how to destroy him. It's the same thing with us because this battle is not physical. And we have the ability, even though we are a few, to, well, let's put it this way: we are not going to do it. Our Father does it. We just have the ability to share the knowledge with the world.
Yeah.
But the fact that we are so small means that we are so powerful, because there are many stories, like you said, that illustrate this format.
Yeah.
And I like that. So the fine print is very, 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 very inspiring, because I know when the rest of the world sees what's going to happen, it's going to be too late for them.
Thank you. Round of applause for that. Very wise words from a very young man. Very, very young man. So, do you guys know who Gideon was before he was chosen? Anybody know? Well, Gideon was a farmer. Okay? And it doesn't directly say in the scriptures he's a farmer, but it will say it. You know how the Bible is. It will say something that they're doing, and then you can put the pieces together that, okay, they did this. So Gideon was a farmer. Now, funny enough, a Greek word for chosen, which Gideon was chosen, is the word kalitos. So I guess you could say he's a Pharmacletus or something. I don't know. It's up to you. You could put it both ways, one way or another, twist it around. So yeah, Gideon was a farmer, and he was chosen. Greek word for chosen. Let's see if anyone was listening. What's the Greek word for chosen? Eh, What was that? Cletus. Yes, Pharmacletus. So, continue on. Chapter 6, Judges, was starting with Gideon. And the children of Israel did evil in the sight of the Lord again, as they always do. We've seen this like throughout this much of the whole Bible. They did it in Egypt. Why not do it here? Because we didn't land anything. So, continuing as, and they did evil in the sight of the Lord again. And the Lord decided, okay, I'm just gonna send the Midianites to deal with you guys, because like I've dealt with you guys too many times. I bought you guys out of Egypt, and then you want to go back. What kind of sense does that make? So the Midianites oppressed Israel for 7 years. Now, it may not sound like a long time, but that's half of my lifespan that I've been on this earth. If you didn't know, for some of you, that may be a fraction of your life. I wonder who. So, for very long, 7 years, the Israelites were oppressed. I mean, you could kind of compare it to COVID, where like you had to be in lockdown for like what was it, 2 or 3 years? I don't know. One of those. But it was very boring. It was probably worse for them because they didn't have anything to watch TV on. So, and when they're oppressed by like a different back then, it's like slavery. So like they have to work, they have to do all this. But instead of doing it for themselves, they're doing it to give to another people. And if you don't do that, then we're gonna kill you. Welcome to war. What'd you expect? So oh my goodness. So continuing as is. And the hand of the Midianites prevailed against Israel. A lot of stuff to talk about. I don't really want to read all of it because like I'm already down like what 24 minutes. I don't want to read all of it because I still got like 2 stories to go, and one of them is really funny, which I want to get to. So I'll tell the story as requested. So verse 2: the hand of the Midianite prevailed against Israel, and because the Midianites, the children of Israel, made them the dens which are in the mountain and the caves and the strongholds. So instead of living in a nice, warm, open field, you're living in a damp, cold cave. Probably not the best if you ask me. I'd rather prefer the nice, warm field than the damp, cold cave. Anyone else on board with that? Uncle Freddie, yes. See, we like to be outside. I don't know about the rest of you guys. You guys might just want to like stay inside all huddled up in your blankets or something for the winter. Hibernate. I mean, to be fair, nobody really likes winter. Unless you're like under the age of 15, then you'll like winter. I'm not included because when I turned 15, 1 second later I was 15 in 1 second. So therefore it doesn't count. Anyway, it doesn't count because I'm 1 second older than the number 15. So therefore I'm not 15. I'm 15 in 1 second. See? So let's see. Verse 3. And so it was when Israel had sown that the Midianites came up, and the Amalekites and the children of the east, even they came up against them. So it's like an unfair 3v1 by the sounds of it. But well, you disobeyed the Lord. That's why we talk about obedience. If you obey, you'll be perfectly fine. That's called obedience. But if you're disobedient, what happens in the black household? You get the belt. I'm not going to explain on that, but we know where that goes. This is why you listen to your parents. Very often. But it's character development. Character development. It's the little things in life that make the big things nice. Is it not?
Yes.
Ishika, you know a lot about the belt?
Yes, I do.
Jesse, you too? Oh no, Jesse was the angel. Jesse was the angel of the family. This guy barely got the belt. This guy barely got the belt.
Good listener. Obedient.
Okay. Yeah, this guy was the angel. Jesse and Zariah, they always somehow escaped with most of the things, even though I did most of them. Yes. But yeah, continuing back on topic. I'm sorry, guys. I keep getting distracted, but it's all about obedience. So yes, Auntie Sophie.
I understand the topic. So the question is, because most of what we're reading is the enemy and the outside, which is easy to say we could battle and we could go up against, but could you have a war within?
Oh, you guys just answered what I was about to do earlier. I was waiting for that. As a matter of fact, I did do some research into civil wars about this, but instead of doing it like Israel versus Team A Israel versus Team B Israel, we'll get to that. We got a story to do, as I've been told like 3 times now. So hold on, we'll get there. Chapter 5. For they came up against their cattle and their tents, and they came as grasshoppers for a multitude. Both for they entered, their camels were without number, and they entered the land to destroy it. So they were here to destroy. But since I got distracted way too many times, we might have to skip a little. I'm sorry. But if you can, Judges 6, okay? If you want to expand and read on that, I'm sorry. I got distracted a few times. Apologies. Keep going. Yeah. We'll get to the more. This is war. I don't want to be reading it like, why read a manual how to fight someone when you could just do it in action? It's easier to learn something by doing it than writing it on a paper.
Supposed to go from the foundation.
Yes, we do have to go through the foundation. But I am saying, naturally, if somebody were to throw something at you, you might do this instinctually to block. And if somebody offended you, you might instinctually slap them across the face. Because I've done it a few times. Sometimes, man, Jesse, very rude. He doesn't like to listen. To me. Let me clarify, to me. Because yesterday, in a video game about war, I told him to do something very specific. He didn't do that, and he ended up prolonging it by like a good 30 minutes. This is why you listen and you obey to instructions. Okay. So, to summarize some of this, we're going to go to chapter 7, verse 7. Okay, this is where Gideon's being told to do things, all right? We're staying on topic, okay? So, and the Lord said unto Gideon, by 300 men that lapped, I will save you, and deliver the Midianites into thine hand, and let all the other people go every man unto his place. So they originally started with 32,000 people. That's a lot of people. Now, most of them were they were not built. They were not cut out for the fight. So the God said, "Okay, you guys go home. You're not needed. You're not gonna help. You're dead weight. You gotta go." Another maybe like 70,000 something. They also had to go because they weren't useful in this fight. So now they're left with 300 people, which is, if you want, it's same movie, 300. You could find it online. Oh, well, look who walked. There's no coincidences in there. So look who walked through the door. Is that Gideon? Is that Gideon? Oh, and Auntie Cheryl. Hi, Auntie Cheryl. And is that Gideon? The farmer, the man, the myth, the legend. So, chapter 7, verse 7. And the Lord, so, we already got that. So, verse 8. So, the people took victuals in their hand and their trumpets, and he sent all the rest of Israel, every man, unto his tent. So, whoever wasn't needed, shoo. and let's see, and retained those 300 men, and the host of Midian was beneath him in the valley. In the valley, there's a period there. I thought it would like keep climbing it. All right, in the valley. So, verse 9. And it came to pass the night that the Lord had said unto him, Arise, get thee down unto the host, for I have delivered it into thine hand. But do it thou fear to go down. Go thou with Purah thy servant down to the host, and thou shalt hear what they say, and afterward thine hands shall be strengthened to go down unto the outside of the armed men that were in the host. And the Midianites and the Amalekites and all the children of the east lay along the valley like grasshoppers for a multitude, and their camels were without number. So if you don't know what that means, there's tons of them. If you see like a field of grasshoppers, it's incountable. Same for the camels. You can't count it. That's how many were. So let's see. Verse 13. And Gideon was come, behold, there was a man that told a dream unto his fellow, and said, Behold, I had dreamed a dream, and lo, a cake of barley bread tumbled into the host of the Midian, and it came unto the tent, and smote it that it fell, and it overturned it, and the tent laid along. Excuse me, whoa. And his fellows answered and said, This is nothing else save the sword of Gideon, the son of Joash, and the man of Israel. For into his hand hath God delivered Midian and all the host. So, by reading what we could gain right now, this is the night before the attack, or the night of the attack. They're in their tents in the valley. We're up here in the mountains, right? We're going to go down to them, and we're supposed to defeat them. So whoever didn't have, the 32,000 that didn't have that faith, yeah, they went there. So the 300 that were left, they know that we're going to go down there and we're going to defeat them, period. It wasn't we might defeat them, maybe we'll defeat them. It's a very high chance, but maybe. No. 100% they're going to defeat them. That was the mentality of the 300 that were left. So going along to chapter 8, because I'm running low on time. Maybe it should be like 2 hours. Yeah. No, nodding no. Okay. And the men of chapter 8, and the men of Ephraim said unto him, Why hast thou served us thus that thou callest us? Ooh, it's fine print, bro. It's really confusing to read. All right, bear with me. That callest us not when thou wentest to fight with the Midianites. And they did chide with him sharply. Verse 2. And he said unto them, What have I done now in the comparison of you? Is not the gleaming of the grapes of Ephraim better than the vintage of Abzer? So he's saying, is this not better than what you have already? So, let's see. Verse 3. God hath delivered into your hands the prince of Midian, Oreb, and Zeb. And what was I able to do in that comparison of you? Then their anger was abated towards him. When he had said that, and Gideon came to Jordan and passed over, he and the 300 men that were with him, faint yet pursuing them. And he said unto the men of Succoth, Give, I pray you loaves of bread unto the people that follow me. This fine print is way too small. Can we get some a little bit bigger sized fonts? Because this is very small. Or I should just get my Bible next time. So, Continuing where we were. Where were we? Okay. Verse 6. And the princes of Succoth are the hands of Zebah and Zamullin now in thine hand, that we should have give bread unto thine army? And Gideon said, Therefore, when the Lord hath delivered Zebah and Zalmunna into mine hand, then I will tear your flesh with the thorns of the wilderness and with briars. And he went thence to Penueli and spake unto them likewise. And the men of Penueli answered him, saying, As as the men of Succoth. Oh, thank you. Yeah, this is bigger. I got a bigger Bible. Hey, we got a bigger Bible, guys. Thank you. Whoever gave this, thank you. Thank you very much. So, let's see. Chapter 7. We're at chapter 8. Let's see. So, we were at. Anybody remember what verse we were at? Let's see who's listening. What verse were we at? Jesse? What verse were we at? You're not listening? Ishika, how about you? Okay, you're excused. Uncle Lewis? You know what verse we're at? Verse 12? Guys are supposed to be listening. You guys are supposed to be like, oh yeah, true. He did get the Bible. All right. All right. Continuing. All right. We're moving on from. I found it. Verse 9. And he spake also unto the men of Peniel, saying, When I come again in peace, I will break down this tower. Now Zebiah and Zalmunna were in Kakor, and their hosts with them were about 15,000 men, all that were left of the host of the children of the east. For there fell 120,000 men that drew the sword. And Gideon went up by the way of them, and dwelt in the tents of the east, Nobah and Jobahag, and smote the host, for the host was secure. And when Zebah and Zalmunna fled, he pursued the two of them, and took the two kings of Midian, Zebah and Zalmunna, and discomfited all the host. And Gideon, the son of Joash, returned from battle before the sun was up. So although my interruptions made it very anticlimactic, all right, let me reenact this for you, all right? It's nighttime, around nighttime, because it just said before the sun was up, all right? So if you're listening, then you'd know that. So Gideon and his 300, they're just about to go into the battle, all right? So they go down, and I'm pretty sure, according to my search up, they didn't use a sword. They used pitchforks and fires. So the 300 of them, they go into the tents of where they're dwelling, full on fight, as you can imagine, because it's a war. This is a battle between 300 and, what did it say, 32,000 of them? That's a very big difference. 300 and 32,000. Huge difference. So when they're fighting and stuff, Gideon pursued Zebah and Zalmunna, and he continued to chase them. And before the sun rose, they were gone. They're wiped out. This is what happens in a war. It's not about mercy. It's not about being told, oh, if you spare me, I'll give you this much gold. No. When it comes to a war, back then they didn't have what was it? What's it called? Prisoners of POWs, prisoners of war, where you have to take care of them. You have to. That doesn't sound like war. Doesn't really. Yeah, exactly. And in a war, got across the head, or the fifth rib. Now, let me get to that story. Yeah, there's a lot of killing in the Bible. Just it's not just a book that you read. This is very different from any book that you read. Probably, if not the best book, the King James Version Bible. Probably the best book in the world. So, as I was saying, I did have a few things to go to. So, as we know, my first story was Joshua and the Battle of Jericho. They obeyed, and the walls came tumbling down. That's one of my examples. Obedience. And it's in a war, so you see where the title comes in. Now is Gideon. Gideon was told to go with only 300 and to go get with them. Although it was only 300, like maybe there was a little bit of fear, but no doubt. You could have fear, but doubt is two different things. To fear something is like you're scared of it, but to doubt something is when you don't believe it. So if I doubt that Jesse's gonna do something, I'm like, he might do it, he might not, I don't know. To fear something is a whole different thing, two different things. Although they're like near the same level, two different meanings. So Gideon obeyed. What happened? They won. Joshua and the Battle of Jericho, they won. They obeyed. That's two examples of obedience in the war zone. Now, Israel being Israel, although they have the powerfulest God in the world, we have the best God in the world. Obedience. That's where we lack a lot. No, it is obedience. So, obedience could be their most powerful weapon in the world. Their weakness is disobedience. So, it's a two-sided sword. If somebody hits it and it goes flying into you, oopsie. Oh well. That's war. So, now we're going to go to Saul. He was obedient up to a certain story, which I'm going to read. 1 Samuel chapter 15. This is one of the more popular stories that most people should know. Samuel said unto Saul, the Lord sent. Hold on, I should be using this one. What am I doing? My notes is in that one, but. Oh, wow. It's almost the first flip. Okay. Here we go. Samuel said unto the Lord, unto the Lord. Samuel said unto Saul, the Lord sent me to anoint thee to be king over his people, over Israel. Now hearken unto the voice of the Lord, to the voice of the words of the Lord. Thus saith the Lord of hosts, I remember that which Amalek did to Israel, and he laid wait for him. So Amalek did something to Israel. And the God of Israel did not forget about that, and he wasn't going to let that slide. The Amalekites, yes. But it says the Amalekite here, so I'm just reading about the Bible. So yeah, the Amalekites did something to Israel. And God of Israel's not just going to let that slide. So, verse 3. Now, go and smite Amalekites. It says Amalek. I'm just going to read what the Bible says, okay? Amalek. And utterly destroy them, that all they have, and spare them not. Just destroy everything. You're going to go in there, and you're going to absolutely set it on fire. Burn it. Cut it down. Break it down to the ground. Absolutely nothing. Man, woman, child, youngling, suckling, ox, sheep, ass, kill it all. Nothing left. Because the Lord is not happy with the Amalekites. What do you want me to do? Oh, we got a question.
It's not a question. It's on the same question that I asked before.
Yeah.
Because I know we don't have much time left.
Yeah.
So, because I think it's us as Israel, the two lessons today, we understand that part of it. And it's easy to say what's on the outside. Like we're easy to fight against those because we know it is not of God. You know what I mean? We could say Christianity, we could say it's the Muslims, we could say this. Like those are things that we know. But I think even for us, I think we do more of the fighting within. So should we have the same mindset as what the lesson is telling us to do today within?
Well, let's see. So your question is,
Yep.
should we have the same mindset as the topic of this lesson? That entirely depends. That's very, overall, I would say yes, but it depends on a few factors. One is always obedience. That's something that we always lack. Anybody as a human, any religion, race, cult, always lack obedience. It may not, even if it's like the smallest things, like,
Mhm.
can you go pick up that piece of paper and they didn't do it? That's disobedience. If you do that to a person, what's going to happen when you do that to the Lord? So, to your question, should we have the same mindset? I would say yes. But that's like, it's a very big topic. Like,
Yep.
should we have the same mindset as going into battle without fear? And yes, but it's a very, like, that, you need some in-depth conversation to that. Which, because of the time, I can't go too in-depth about it. Because I have one more story.
No.
One more story that I want to get to, but we're going to finish this story. All right? So, Saul was told to go destroy everything in sight. Kill everything. You see the sheep, you kill even the little grasshopper that was minding its own business, eating wheat, kill it. Because it's in their city. The guy of Israel told them, go in there and kill everything. What happened? Let's see. Anyone want to tell me what happened? Did they obey or did they disobey? Disobey? And why did they disobey? Oh, what do we got? We got Uncle Brian?
Oh, great lesson. I got a question for you though. Sorry, someone wants to answer the question. They want me to answer the question first. Yeah, they disobeyed.
Yes.
But anyways, let me go into what I was going to ask you. So, if you were faced with this,
Me.
what would you do?
If I was
What-
faced with what? What exactly am I being faced with?
Okay, so you're given instruction: go in and utterly destroy everything.
Yeah.
Everything.
How would
Joab, go in and
Yeah.
this Joab of today, go in and destroy everything. Utterly destroy. Wipe everything out. Don't leave anything behind.
Well, one, I wouldn't have an option because if I didn't do that, that's presumptuous sin. You're supposed to be obedient. So that's already two things. If you don't do it, you're doing presumption. Two, the lesson's about obedience. If I'm being told by my God, yes, it may be you're gonna have a lot of pressure on you to go to a city and absolutely destroy it. It's gonna be a lot of pressure, yes. You're gonna be scared of it. I'm gonna be scared of it, obviously. To go into a city and destroy everything, yeah, you're gonna be scared. That's just, maybe not Uncle Freddy. Maybe he might not be scared. No, yeah, he's not gonna be scared. So, yeah.
I think it depends on the person, though. I
Yeah.
think it depends on the person, right? The characteristics of the person.
Character.
Yeah. Really, what it comes down to, right? That's
So
basically it. I think that's what it comes down
Yeah.
to. But I was going to ask you that question. Anyways, you can continue.
so they took 10,000. All right.
I think this is a wonderful lesson. And I think reflecting on what Saul has done in the past, we as modern day Israel use this as an example.
Mm,
It has nothing to do with emotions because
Yeah.
we can look and see there's a little child there that's 8 years old or 4 years old. We can't kill that child. No.
yeah.
Look at what Saul did. And he lost the kingdom because of disobedience. So we ourselves, we don't know what they use the children for
Yeah.
or anything else. So forget the emotions. My general, my commander told me to do something. You
Yeah.
follow instructions. And
Yeah.
that's just simply it.
So what you're saying, which is like, this world is either you're gonna kill or get killed. That's the world. Kill or be killed. So in this scenario, I know Uncle Freddy would do it without hesitation. He'd march into the city and he'd probably deal with it maybe within not even 2 days. Maybe like before the sun rises up. So That's Uncle Freddy. So, verse 18. I mean, no, not verse 18. Verse 8. Before verse 8. They had 10,000 people with him. So it's not just Saul alone. There's 10,000 other soldiers coming with him to destroy the city. All right? So, verse 8. Saul, he took Agag, the king of the Amalekites, alive. He was just told to kill everything. If it moves, if it doesn't move, kill it. Kill with fire, kill with stone, kill with everything. But he took the king of the enemies alive? And the sheep and oxen, yeah. Sheep, oxen. What else did he take? Anything that he could get his hands on. He even said, so, verse 14. And Samuel said, what is the meaning of this bleating of sheep and lowing of oxen, which I hear? So they were supposed to come back, come back, everything's wiped out. You got the treasure that was told to collect. Done. But why do I hear sheep? And why do I hear oxen mooing in the background? I told you to go there. The Lord told you to go there and kill everything. Why are you coming back with this stuff? His excuse? To sacrifice it to the Lord. However, what would the Lord prefer? A physical sacrifice or obedience? What do you think happened? What do you think the Lord preferred? Obedience. Yeah. Where did that go? Where did that go when he said, "Oh, these are for, oh no, these aren't for me. These aren't for me. These are for me. It's for the Lord." Of course it's for the Lord. But no. The Lord told you to kill everything. You weren't supposed to bring anything back. You were supposed to go there and wipe out everything, flatten the land, make it look like it didn't exist there. But why are you coming back with sheep and bulls? Why are you coming back with the best of the best? You were told to go and do something, and you didn't do as it was told. What happened to Saul? He lost the kingdom. Now, looking at him, we see that he's one of the main examples by Israelites of obedience. Now, with the 6 minutes that I have, anybody know a man in the Bible named Joab? Yeah, that's right. I'm not ashamed to say that Joab killed multiple people. No. I didn't kill anyone. Disclaimer, I did not kill anybody, not me, okay? I didn't kill anyone. I have some people that look at me as if I did. Maybe in a video game, but not in physical life. With the 5 minutes that we have, we're going to get into the... Can't tell them that. So, who is Joab? I already know. What do you guys know? Who's Joab? You got no, not me. The Joab in the Bible. David's right hand man. You know who? You know what else he was to David? He was his nephew. And not so commander. So a very high degree of honor he has. However, there is three direct people that he killed, and one indirect. Number one, Abner, the most popular person that we know that happened to get stabbed right above here. Don't ask me how I know that the fifth rib's right above here. Don't ask me how I know. Huh? No, I didn't do it before. It's common knowledge. Come on, guys. You know, 1, 2, 3. You could count. You could count it. Used to be. All right. So Abner, where did he get stabbed? In the fifth rib. Why did he get stabbed? Revenge. That wasn't one of these here, which I can't see, otherwise I have to go around, say that you should not kill another Israelite. That's shedding innocent blood. That's already a commandment on one of these. I think it's this one. Is it this one? No, it's this one. is this one. So you should not kill another Israelite unless you were told by the God of Israel, which I highly doubt you would be told by the God of Israel to kill another Israelite. But in the scenario, then you would. But he was not told to go kill that. So what is that? That's a sin already. Second person killed, Absalom. He killed him by he disobeyed David. So again, this is obedience we're talking about in warriors. This is war and obedience. He killed Absalom because he disobeyed David. He disobeyed them. That caused a life to be taken. And I believe it's an Israelite. Correct me if I'm wrong. David's son? David's son. Exactly. That's your cousin. Personally, I wouldn't ever stab my cousin Azariah unless the guy visitor told me. But no hard feelings. So, on the third person, who did he kill? Amasa. Why? Jealousy. Probably not even, more like envy. Because jealousy is when you want something that someone has. Envy is a different level. That's something that Elder taught me. Jealousy and envy, two different things. So he killed Amasa out of jealousy. Envy, not jealousy. Because he was going to get something better than him. So what did he do? 50. Probably. Most likely. Because it's probably like the most discreet way to kill somebody. I'm not speaking from experience. I'm just saying it's probably one of the more discreet ways. I didn't do it. Maybe Elder Michael did it. But I don't have any correlation to that man over there. Now, when I said that he killed 3 people, I did also say that he killed somebody not intentionally by his own will. Uriah. David wrote a letter to Uriah to send him to the front lines. Who delivered that message? Joab. Joab delivered that message to Uriah to send him to the front lines. So you could say that's an indirect way of killing him because he followed the unethical order. You're not supposed to kill your brethren. We just talked about that. This is about obedience, following the law, statutes, commandments, and being a warrior. So, and then what happened in 1 Kings? Who died then? Joab. Joab died. Yes. Not me, because I'm still here. I'm still alive and kicking. I'm up here. And I definitely didn't kill anyone. So, yeah, he died because what did he do? He got away with it once, twice, 3 times. The 4th time, maybe you could say it was the 4th time. Maybe it was unintentional. I don't know, 2nd degree, maybe 3rd degree. I think it's 2nd. Yeah, 2nd degree murder. Don't tell me how I know. Don't ask me how I know that. I just did my research, all right? So, what am I demonstrating here? Jericho. No, not Jericho. Joshua obeyed. Gideon obeyed. They lived. They were given that privilege to live another day. Or more. However, for the people that disobeyed, what happened to Saul? He lost his entire kingdom. Everything gone. What happened to Job? He died. He got killed because of his wrongdoings. So if I had to leave you guys with something, what would I leave you guys with? There's a lot in this 1 hour. What would be the main point? Obedience. Yeah. If I had to leave you guys with something, no matter how small the degree of obedience or how high the degree of disobedience was, if you're obedient, you'll be fine. If you're disobedient, it's going to catch up to you eventually. It may not happen in the moment. You might get away with it for now, but it's going to come back. Those things don't just fade away. So, with that, I say peace.